Question 3 deals with parents' reactions to children with disability, and this is why it's important that you safeguard their rights and understand the emotional state they're in. It's been compared to somebody going through the grieving the stages of death, and in a way it is, because it's the end of that dream of a perfect child. And so just think about this now when you are in the process of referring a student and working with a parent, especially the first time, and even beyond that. So let's look at these different steps here. The parent's initial response could be denial, projection, or blame. Who do you think that's going to be targeted at? Okay. Fear. Can you imagine the fear when you first hear that we're going to test your child for a disability? And then guilt. Oh my gosh. And this will drive them to make a lot of decisions, sometimes irrational, that you'll have a hard time understanding. Especially, it may be a relationship with you, or the relationship they have with the child may change. And then it could be grief and withdrawal and rejection and finally acceptance. But sometimes that acceptance is long after your relationship is gone with them, and sometimes it's never. Sometimes they never accept that. So I need you to read this and see what role you play as their classroom teacher in these stages of accepting this disability. I have another link out here that makes that connection now between grief and the adjustment to a child with disability. And it kind of takes you through here. Following the initial crisis discovery, there is often folding the learning process and the significance of diagnosis, which accepts professional and parents. Understanding the grieving process in relation to diagnosing a disability is helpful in those reactions, because you are the bearer of bad news. You require to explain and impart relevant information involved in the ongoing unfolding nature of the loss, I say, and that's what I want you to talk about. And again, I want you to talk to some teachers about this, because it's another part of that communication, and your empathy and your relationships with family and kids has to deal with this. And even if they don't qualify, let me say it again, even if they don't qualify for an IEP, you have tested them, you have brought to their attention that the child is struggling. And so there's some of this goes on through there. Grieving in relation to death and dying, that's what this is like. You know, it's attachment theory. Please read through this. I got this link for you. The grief work, grief and parenting a child with disability. There's chronic sorrow, adjustment or readjustment, a constant unresolved grief. The range of theories, like some key points. The expected perfect child is gone. The normal parenting role is impact over. The possible loss of independent adult. Yeah. Okay, so sometimes, depending on what the disability is, it's not just a child, it's losing that independent adult. And so I need you to look at this, and see how it relates to you. How does this stages relate to you, and what you're going to, how you'll help those parents.